Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I see many attendances are from Middle East, Europe, few of them, and few from Africa as well. So, in few places might be good morning and good evening, all the three things together. Let me take this privilege once again to welcome all the attendees and the panelists on board. These days, when the COVID was started close to around three and a half months back in the middle of March, there used to be a one webinar happening in in 1 month or maybe in 2 weeks. These days it is like a 3 or 4 per day. So the attendees definitely deserve appreciation of actually sparing their time and then attending it to this. What we have done at Power & Son along with our principal partners is we have created a knowledge series whereby we spend maximum 1 hour to 1.5 hours to our to the people, to the EPCs, developers, installers in the marketplace, and then pick up the subjects which are of their main interest. So today's session is with SMA, and it's very interesting subjects. We have to touch upon on a yield optimization with SMA Shade Fix. Mr. Sebastian will take us through the complete details. Mr. Jens and Mr. Osama, they are the three panelists on board. I can also proudly say that between the three strong panelists, it is more than 60 man years of solar experience. Please utilize it. Ask as much as questions as you can. You can chat it. We will also have a open question answer session at the end of a event where there is a button with a hand sign which you can click it, and then we will have an opportunity to connect with you directly and then reply to your questions. Coming back on the agenda, after this we have new features of SMA Sunny Design 5. We will be also touching the base with 160 Core 2, which is a new product very recently been launched by SMA. Then the last 5 or 10 minutes I will be taking it up on a Solar Simplified. What do we mean by Solar Simplified and how it is going to help you? SMA in general don't need any introduction, but very quick bullet points for a couple of our attendees who might not be aware of it. SMA is around 40 years old company. 1981 they started producing inverters. Say around 2019 December, the revenues were close to around 900 plus million euros, 3,000 employees, and more importantly, they have this probably the only company which is 1,000 plus patents under their belt. Last year around 11 gigawatt which has been shipped, and in total from the inception it is 90 gigawatt plus. So probably with this type of experience on the solar industry, not only on the product but as a very holistic approach to the entire solar projects, this is what we will be able to hear it from them. I will now request Mr. Sebastian to proceed with his presentation. I'll give you a presentation connect so that you can share your screen. Mr. Sebastian has he's actually masters, and he has close to around 10 years of experience as an first initial few years as a consultant, solar consultant, designing and supporting the EPCs in various other products, various hybrid and your offset solutions. And from a last couple of years, he's handling the business development position in SMA Sunbelt, which is a 100% subsidiary of SMA Germany. Thank you. Sebastian, all for you now.
Right. Hello all. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can see your screen here.
All right. Great. So thank you, Mr. Wermer, for the introduction. And hello all. So I would like to start like the first 15 to 20 minutes with our latest product that is going to be launched next month in August, which is the Sorry?
Sebastian, don't see your screen. We see your video. So you can switch on you can share your screen as well.
All right, let me just check 1 minute. So now, is it better?
Now we can see your screen, yes.
All right. Great. So yeah, as mentioned, I would like to start with our latest product, which is the Core 2 inverter, Sunny Tri-Power. And here you can see some pictures from the inside and let's say a little bit of marketing from the outside. And as you can see, like one of the biggest advantages of the inverter itself is like a complete featured housing with integrated 12 maximum power point tracking systems. So you have 12 different inputs that can be seen and controlled as a single, let's say, point of interconnection to the modules. So 12 MPPT trackers, yeah. This is something where you can have, let's say, the maximum out of your PV plant. So even different angles and directions is no problem with the inverter itself, yeah. The other thing which you can see also on this picture in the first place is what you don't need is a DC combiner. So everything is here already inbuilt. So no additional DC connector combiner is needed, yeah. So this gives you a lot of potential projects where you can use this product because it's so versatile. So different MPPTs, so different angles, directions, no problem. It is coming with the latest integratable features of SMA. So not only the SMA ShadeFix, but also all the other, let's say, software packages and solutions SMA is offering. So energy management, service, everything at one glance, no problem for you. So everything is integrated here, yeah. So it is ready also for the future for our latest monitoring and control products, yeah. And the other thing is, as it is coming with the latest features from MPPT tracking up to ShadeFix, up to, let's say, the best beneficial project integration through our NXOS standards, you get the best performance out of this product itself, yeah. So it's not about the hardware itself only, so which is great enough, but also about the integration of this product into the SMA portfolio, which is coming with more and more solution approach to the customer itself, yeah. So as you might know, we already have the SDP Core 1, which is a 50 kilowatt PV inverter. So here you can see, let's say, a typical application range, which is covering 50 to, let's say, 300-400 kilowatt in that respect. We had in the past also the Sunny High Power Peak 1, which was or is a 75 kilowatt device without DC combiner, where we have seen, okay, it's let's say for some larger projects where you want to have a decentralized approach, so not with central inverters, but decentralized. And now coming and adding to this is the Sunny High Power Peak 3, which is, let's say, a decentralized but without DC combiner solution from SMA for large scale megawatt plants, yeah. So this is a PV inverter that has two options basically on the DC side from 1000 to 1500 volts, but which is more for, let's say, those megawatt parks where you want to have decentralized solutions because of redundancy, because of, let's say, design issues which you have or which you might have with central inverters, yeah. So this is, let's say, the current portfolio, and now adding to that portfolio would be the SDP Core 2 as an inverter with a lot of MPPT trackers, so 12, and with an inbuilt DC combiner. So that makes it much more flexible than the former SHP 75, yeah, and much more flexible when it comes to, let's say, different angles and directions of the PV plant itself compared to the SHP Peak 3, so the Peak 3 inverter, which only comes with one MPPT tracker. Yeah, so it's, let's say, bridging from smaller applications to the megawatt parks as projects. Yeah, so here's the smaller inverters which we still have. So the TL30 series of the Sunny Tri-Power inverters, ranging from 15 to 25 kilowatt. Yeah, so it's completed by the SDP Core 1 and formerly by the Peak 1. And now we're adding the Core 2 inverter into this product portfolio. So bringing in 110 kilowatt in this inverter, which can be used up to several megawatts. Yeah, so no problem. Depending on your application and projects, you can use the SDP Core 2 in this respect, starting from next month. Yeah, so here are the, let's say, technical details at a glance. So we do have 12 MPP trackers for different angles and applications, so also with shading, no problem. What is different to most of our competitors is we do have 24 strings that can be connected through our SunClicks module connectors. Yeah, so they are very easy to handle, very safe and secure. So this is, let's say, one of the biggest differences to our competitors. You can easily oversize the PV plant. So as you can see on the, let's say, upper left picture, so you have angles east, south, west, and so on. So you do not have the full power at the, let's say, at one single point of the day, because you have different angles of the PV array itself. So there's no problem of simply oversizing the PV plant, making usage of the 12 different MPPT trackers, and really oversize the PV plant, yeah, in accordance to let's say the Core 2 technical details, so that the inverter itself will run at a maximum throughout the whole day. Yeah. What is also different to most of the inverters, you can go up to 1100 volts, which is, especially when you go to, let's say, the Middle Eastern region, a very good detail, because as you know, the voltage drop in that area because of, let's say, higher temperature of the arrays itself or themselves is relatively high. So the difference between the starting in the morning and, let's say, the full power of the sun during daytimes is very high compared, I mean, the temperature difference. So that means the higher you can get, let's say, with, or the more modules you can put into series, the easier it makes it to get a good yield out of your system. Yeah. The cool thing about it as well, and that is one of the next topics which we will come to, is that you can also use our Sunny Design web tool for planning with this inverter itself. Yeah, so you can go to Sunny Design, you can bring in one picture of Google Earth of your application, of your project, of your, let's say, company hall, and then you can simply integrate, and with different angles, directions of your rooftop PV arrays, you can simply design the system as if you would do it with small, let's say, PV inverters such as Sunny Boys from us. Yeah, so the design itself, also with our tool Sunny Design, is really simple. Yeah, and the other cool thing is, especially when it comes to cost saving at the end, is that we do have a fuseless design on the DC side, meaning you do not have to pay for extra fuses if you do not need them. Yeah, so depending on the target, let's say, projects you have or target countries, you do not have to buy something you do not really need to. So I mentioned it early during this presentation, it's not just about the PV inverter as such, as a hardware point. As you can see here from the, let's say, picture on the bottom side, so the inverter itself, the Core 2, would be the second picture on the left. Yeah, so it starts with Sunny Design on the very left picture, which is planning tool. Yeah, it gets over the PV inverter itself, over the hardware, going then to, let's say, a solution approach when it comes also to the possibilities with ShadeFix as let's say a tool that provides better yield even with shaded modules, goes then to the next inverter, which is in that case actually a battery inverter, so Sunny Tri-Power storage. So meaning it's not just about PV inverters and the perfect yield out of the PV system itself, but also about integrating battery storage to the system. Yeah, so everything from one vendor makes it really easy at the end for EPCs and installers to really come up with a good solution to the customer itself. Yeah. So it's about integrating battery systems. It's then also about integrating monitoring and control systems. Yeah, so monitoring is also key. You can show to the customer what they're really getting out of the system, and you can see from this monitoring also what are possible problems. Yeah, so the approach of SMA is also integrating, let's say, a 360-degree, we call it, professional approach for, let's say, installers, so that they get messages from the system itself before the customer even recognize that there might be an issue with the system. Yeah, so it's, let's say, preventive service with the customers. Yeah, coming all from us, from one vendor in this case. Yeah, and this is like the solution approach SMA is more focusing on. It's not just about the hardware in the first place, bringing in software in the second place, and a solution approach with combination of different, let's say, energy sources and also, yeah, energy appliances that you're integrating in one system to kind of form the perfect solution for your customer at the end. So here some other features out of the box simply. So as mentioned before, no DC combiner is required. We do have a 110 kilowatt PV inverter, standard 400 volts AC. 400 volts AC means it comes standard with 400 volts AC, but can be also used in 380 volts AC or 415 volts AC. So this is also possible. Yeah, it is designed also for this kind of region, so you can also hang it outside. Yeah, the IP protection is high with 65, and this is one of the features just mentioned, as it is an integrated solution approach. You can simply install and commission the system with, for example, your data manager, which is our control or monitoring device, which we bring into the system. Yeah, so you simply do the DC and AC connections in the inverter so that it's working, and the rest commissioning can be done through your laptop with the data manager app. So which is at the end saving hours for you at the construction site itself and saves you money. Yeah, so this is basically the benefit for the EPC or the installer at the end. And the other thing is, it is coming with the latest Shade Fix solution from SMA, meaning, okay, if you do have those kind of different angles and directions of your PV array itself, there might be also some shading. And some competitors might be saying, okay, look, if you're having let's say, shading at your PV arrays, it might be useful to use like a solution with module optimizers. But we say, okay, look, no, we do have a good integrated feature here, which provides you also maximum yield out of your system, even with shaded modules. And at the lower side, the smart connected approach, meaning what I mentioned before, that monitoring and also, let's say, service messages will be provided on a preventive basis, meaning, okay, your system is connected, and once you are, let's say, or the system itself detects a failure, it will gives you information on that and will provide solution support. Yeah. As a summary, the good thing coming also as a third point is the integration into Sunny Design. So meaning, okay, design part will be easy to handle. So the overall planning process is really easy. The system itself can be used for several types of applications, so that's also like key for those who are doing wholesaling in this respect. So meaning, okay, you can also put it in your warehouse, because there are several applications which can be, let's say, made with this kind of inverter. And it is an SMA device coming with, let's say, the SMA quality and the integration into the SMA solution world, with the energy management, with the battery integration, with the service structure that we have. Everything is integrated into that product itself. Some words again over about SMA. So Mr. Verma has already mentioned we are in the field of let's say the PV business almost 35 years. So we're founded in 1981. We do have over 1,500 patents, more than 85 gigawatts of inverters deployed in the world. We are not talking just about PV inverters, but also about battery inverters. And we are, let's say, still on the market as a German company. And as you all know, there are a lot of companies coming more and more into this, let's say, field of industry, which are not focusing on what they are basically doing. So SMA is purely focusing on, let's say, renewable energies, a solution approach with PV and other renewable energy sources, also battery integration. And so we are really into what we are doing. So for us, it's not just a branch out of many. So it's really, our approach is renewable energies driving forward, and we do have different platforms, different solutions where we can really, let's say, bring benefits to our customers. Yes, so that would be like the first point on the Core 2 inverter itself. Up to now, are there any questions, or shall we do it at the end?
You would like to take the questions in between, or would like to take it at the end of it?
I think we do it at the end of it. So then I will move on with.
Yes, that's better. I think we can move on with the next.
Yeah. So this is another feature which is not that well known, I would say. It's called SMA Shade Fix. We just changed the name for, let's say, for some introduction reasons. It's a feature that is integrated within the SMA inverters for some time, but we just changed the name. And the reason for it is basically that more and more people are really, let's say, scared about shading or partial shading of the PV plant. So they're saying, okay, look, we do have partial shading for some modules. What shall we do? Isn't it better to use module optimizers? And we just want to say and give a presentation on why we say, okay, module optimizers, there is certainly some projects where you do need them, but for most of the projects of 95% plus, you will not need any module optimizers, and now we are going to show why. Here's some legal disclaimer on that. So basically, we call it SMA Shade Fix, and it's basically an integrated algorithm within our PV inverters. So it's no additional hardware solution, as you would name it with module optimizers, but it's an algorithm software within our inverters, which brings you the most out of let's say, of your PV plant. So you have your device, you have your PV inverter, but you do not have to have any compromises on performance and yield, because for 95% plus of the PV applications and projects themselves, you will not have any benefit if you're using PV module optimizers. On the other hand, once you're using PV module optimizers, there is, let's say, also some, let's say, some disadvantages when it comes to risks. So meaning, okay, you're not just having one component but several ones. And that will also affecting quality and lifetime of a project, yeah, of your system itself, yeah. And we are not just, let's say, saying, okay, we do have a good solution, but we also have, let's say, third parties which are not connected to SMA in any way that can prove what we are saying actually, yeah. So how does it work? We do have here, let's say, a power voltage curve of a typical PV array. And as you all know, there's always, like, say, a maximum point of power that you get out of the PV array itself, yeah. So normal PV inverters, they're searching for this maximum power point, this MPP. And the problem is now, what is happening if one of this, of the PV arrays, for example, in this, let's say, module plant is shaded, yeah. So what you can see here, that there is at the end a different local MPP, as we call it, yeah. So we do have the global MPP, so the combined maximum power point that you get out of this PV plant, and you do have a local one, yeah, because the module itself is shaded, yeah. So what you can see is the difference in output power, yeah. So the problem is now, if you're not having a good, let's say, anti-shading solution integrated in your inverter, this small shading on the module itself will affect the overall PV plant that you're having, because the lowest module will always, let's say, be the first in the row of the modules and will, let's say, also lower the output power of the other modules accordingly. So you can see it on the next page. So if you're having unshaded PV arrays, yeah, you have this global, as we call it, maximum point of power that you're getting out of the system, yeah. Then we do have a partial shaded PV array, and then you can see, okay, how the power itself is dropped. We do not reach the global power point here, but we do have two, let's say, local points in that respect, yeah. And what we are basically doing, because this local MPP is lower than, as you can see on the last picture on the right side, the global MPP with ShadeFix, what we are doing is the inverter itself is recognizing, okay, there is a shaded module in this serial connection of modules, and it is forcing the bypass diode that is integrated on almost every module worldwide to put the, let's say, to bypass the module itself, yeah, so that the power output is not, as in the second picture, the local MPP, but the global MPP as in the third picture, yeah. So you're getting more out of the system than without, let's say, MPP tracking that has the algorithm for, let's say, shading integrated into the inverter itself. So that's the difference, yeah. So first picture on the right hand side would be the best outcome, no shading at all. The second picture where the dot is would be, let's say, the power output that you would get without any shade optimization, because let's say the lowest module always is like the one who's leading the row of modules. And on the third picture, you see what you can get out of the system with this SMA ShadeFix solution. For those of you who might not be, let's say, maybe I was a little bit too fast, or not everything was really self-explaining, so you will receive this presentations later on as a PDF from Mr. Wormer, so no problem. So you can read it also afterwards. As mentioned before, we are also not just, let's say, believing in what we are saying, but we also have the proof. Yeah? So here on the left-hand side, you see, okay, there's the degree of shading. So yeah, most of the systems do not have any shading at all, because let's say it's like somewhere free without any skyscrapers nearby or any trees, so no shading at all. Some do have medium shading, and some do have heavy shading. And there is a University of Denmark, of southern Denmark in particular, that has really, made an analysis on all the PV plants that are around and has seen, okay, that approximately 95% of all PV plants are driving better with such a solution that we are offering, yeah, which is inbuilt without any extra hardware components. Yeah, so let's say an optimized MPP tracking that we are offering compared to conventional module optimizers that you're getting on the market. Yeah, so no matter which brand it is. Yeah, so you can see 95% of all PV plants will have a better outcome, a better yield even than with conventional module optimizers, together with less components that could get broken with, let's say, less costs at the end, so less risk, you could say. Yeah. So, and they made a differentiation between the different applications that you can have. So, of course, if there's no shading at all, the integrated inbuilt SMA ShadeFix solution will have better yield than conventional module optimizers. The same goes for light shading. So, and also the same goes for, as you can see on the picture, medium shading. Yeah, so not just a single module, but even some. Yeah, and only if you're having really heavy shading throughout the day, so from different angles and so on, module optimizers will have an impact on the yield of the system. So, and as you can see, there is an in red written majority of the plants, so 95% will be the no shading until medium shading, let's say, applications. And you can also check the figures and facts of this study from Denmark. We put it here in into the slides as a reference, so you can also check what we are saying. Yeah. So basically, it's not just about, let's say, saving some costs because it's less hardware. Yeah, it's not just about getting better yield of the system, but it's also about safety at the end. Yeah, because it's always as it is in life. So just taking the car as an example, the more, let's say, advanced the cars are getting, the smarter they are getting. So more and more electronics are into the cars, aircon, whatsoever, so they can drive on their own. But the more you put into a car, the more things can also break at the end. Yeah. So it's not just that the engine breaks like 50 years ago. Yeah. So that was like what could happen. It was the engine, it was the brakes itself, but also, let's say, or the tires. But other than that, nothing could really break. Yeah. And nowadays, even for, let's say, the smallest problem on software, for example, you have to go to the to your garage, to your car manufacturer to handle these issues. And this is like a problem which is more and more important when it comes also to lifetime insurance, to quality at the end, and also to lower the risks of losing money. The less components you're having in such a system, the less can really break at the end. And this is bringing, let's say, a better performance over the years to your system. Yeah, here we do also have a differentiation between the SMA solution with the integrated algorithm on that side. So we have roughly 2,000 components which are needed to build a SDP50, so 50 kilowatt inverter. And for the same size of system with module optimizer solution, you would roughly need 30 times this amount, so 60,000 components in total. Yeah. So even if just, let's say, 1% failure rate or even 0.1% failure rate, you can do your math and see at the end, okay, where it is more likely that something is going to break at the end. All right, so that would be the part on SMA ShadeFix, on the integrated, let's say, PowerPoint or maximum PowerPoint optimization. And yeah, if you're having questions to that, you can ask it later on, or you can also ask directly Mr. Verma and he will get back to me on that. All right, so those were the two slides that I have. And the last point that I wanted to show to you is, let's say, the latest update on Sunny Design. Yeah. So Sunny Design is SMA's design tool, and it's free of charge. You can simply go to sunnydesignweb.com, as you can see above in the browser itself, and you can simply start, yeah, designing, let's say, 98% of possible applications throughout the world. Yeah. So we do have different possibilities for those of you who have never used it before. So we do have the possible of just designing a PV system that feeds power, everything of it, to the grid itself. Yeah. We do have the possibility of PV systems with self-consumption. So as an example, the costs of PV per kilowatt hour in Germany, as an example, are much lower than the actual kilowatt hour price that we are paying to the utility. So for us, it makes sense to use our own PV plant as much as we can. So that's why in this project design possibility, we are not just integrating the PV plant and the yield of the PV plant itself, but also we are integrating the load profile. We are integrating different, let's say, weather types that we are having in Germany, so different seasons of the year. And we can also integrate certain energy sources that can be added. So combined heating and power plant, for example, that we are sometimes having in Germany, or windmill if you're having, or for example, big loads like an EV that can be charged on certain times of the day. So meaning we are integrating a load profile, and the more accurate the load profile is and the more accurate the data out of PV and another energy source is at the end, the better is the outcome, let's say, on the design, on the proposal of the system for you and your customer. Another very informative point would be the off-grid system design tool that we brought into here. So if you're thinking of, let's say, remote areas in the Hindu Kush region, for example, where there is no grid connection at all, it sometimes makes sense to build in off-grid systems. Yeah. So bringing in PV as the cheapest energy source you can have at the moment on Earth, yeah, together with nowadays reliable batteries and diesel engine, for example, to build up your own microgrid at the end. Yeah. So that can be done with the off-grid system design section. And as a last point, we do also have the possibility of large-scale PV diesel hybrid systems, as we call it. So if you're thinking of, let's say, for example, in Saudi Arabia, there are a lot of stone crushing projects. So a lot of big stone crush plants that are running purely on diesel engines. Yeah, of course, diesel is in particular in that region relatively cheap, but also, let's say, more and more people are getting into, let's say, a more ecologic and green approach towards their businesses. So integrating PV makes sense for several reasons, yeah, not just money, but also, let's say, eco reasons. And so this section gives you some help on designing possibilities to integrate easily PV into diesel hybrid systems. Yeah. So those are the 4 sections, and I am not going to talk about those sections more now. Just a little hint on that. If you're not really familiar with Sunny Design Web as a whole, there are a lot of tech tips on our YouTube channel of SMA. So we do have our own YouTube channel. I can show it maybe later on. And there are tech tips how to use the different sections and how to design actually your PV system with self-consumption or off-grid systems, or even PV diesel hybrid systems. Yeah. So there are people showing you how it works, and then you can design your own system. Yeah. And coming now to the latest feature of the Sunny Design, which is Sunny Design 5.0. Yeah. So the latest update. Just show you one of the projects that I've just made like 2 days ago for this session here. and that shows you what is possible here. Yeah, and what you can see here is basically a picture of Google Maps. Yeah, so I was searching for a house. Yeah, actually it's a house of a friend of mine right next to me, basically, so it's only 100 meters, and he wants to have PV on his roof. Yeah, and so in the first point, he was not just, let's say, asking local EPC to help him, but he asked, for example, me as a friend here, yeah, to give him an idea how it could look like at the end. Yeah, so, and the cool thing about this latest version of Sunny Design, so 5.0, is that you can integrate even rooftop planning to your design itself. Yeah, so you're having your map, your satellite map here. Yeah, you have this house, and then you can easily design the roof with the module you would like to use, which is integrated in our module, let's say, database, in order to design your PV plant accordingly. Yeah, so that is the latest update, and this is how it looks like at the end. So you can see, okay, those are the modules that I've used. I've used, in this case, 300 watt peak black modules. I will show it to you. I also integrated a load profile. So it's a private household. They only have 3,000 kilowatt hours of consumption because they are mainly not at home during daytime, and in Germany most of the energy consumption is in winter times because of heating. So normally no German has an aircon, even though it's getting more and more. So the most energy in Germany is used for heating. Yeah? So basically that is the annual energy consumption that they are having. We do have here the load profile, how it is on a normal day, also in kilowatt. Of course, there are fluctuations, yeah, but this is, let's say, a standard profile that is behind. But you could also use your own load profile, which would be here. So if you know what you're having in your house, different load profiles, you can simply add it here. And out of this load profile, we just made a calculation on what would be possible. So as you can see, this is the picture taken from Google Maps. Yeah? So they already have some kind of PV plant on their roof. It's for heating purposes actually, so it's thermal PV. So I said, okay, look, you do not have that much of energy consumption throughout the year. So what we are going to do is we are putting standard PV for electricity production on east and west roofs in this respect. Also for, let's say, yeah, good looking reasons at the end. So, and then the system was planning themselves based on this picture, as it knows, okay, what are actually the sizes of the roof itself. Yeah, it was actually proposing that kind of module proportion to that system. Yeah. So this is, let's say, the latest feature of Sunny Design that gives you already a glimpse, an idea of how the system itself will look like afterwards once the PV modules are on top of it. Of course, there will be some kind of, let's say, correction in that direction to make it, let's say, yeah, even. But at the end, this is definitely a good idea to give you also an idea for the customers at the end how the system would look like, how many modules you are needing, what are the mounting structures that you're needing, also with the different screws and plates you need. And also, of course, the inverter can be integrated with the cables. Yeah. So the latest update, to put it in a glance, on Sunny Design 5 was basically the integration of rooftop design possibility for all kind of projects that you would like to have. And to make it short, also on this, there is a tech tip video which will be sent with the PDFs of the presentations that I've just given to you later on from Mr. Verma afterwards. So you will also have the tech tips how to do it at the end. All right. That's it from my side.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Sebastian. Thanks for a nice presentation and covering up all the subjects very quickly. We will have these presentations and a video also available on site. We will provide you the link once the session is over in the next 1 or 2 days time, and then based on your requirement, either you can download the presentation and the video as well. Now I will just quickly introduce the Power and Sun and one of special features on which we are working, that is Solar Simplified. So just give me a minute. Let me change.
All right.
Yeah. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
I hope my screen is visible. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Very quickly. We are a design and supply company. We are basically a one-stop shop for all the solar, components, inverters, PV modules, cables, structures, combiner boxes. So all under a one roof. The way we operate is actually a demand aggregation, model where we have developed a system whereby we can capture the demand from a market, various projects of say 200 kilowatt, 500 kilowatt, 1 megawatt, 2 megawatt, 3 megawatt, like this on a real time basis, and then these are clubbed together and some sort of a projections are drawn from them on a quarterly basis, and then we approach the manufacturers and work with them on a forecast for a year or for a half year on those basis. So actually the benefit out of this, which is in terms of economies of scale, thereby reducing the cost and the availability, is passed it on to the customers. We also conduct some projects on engineering and complete engineering and project management also. Solar Simplified, anyway, I will just explain it to you that what exactly we mean by this and what exactly is the terminology. 360-degree solutions is simple, off-grid, on-grid, PV diesel hybrid, zero export. You talk about the solar systems, and then we have a solar system with us. We will design a solution where the solar energy can be used to get the power for it. Probably one of the only company in this region who has started working now on online for a residential and for a retail market, though it is not yet picked up much in this region because of the various reasons, and it is mostly B2B or commercial and industrial sectors. But there again we have some requirements coming up, and most importantly it is making the people available, the prices and the availability, those things are available online. As I said that we are a consolidated, we are an integrated company where all the components are integrated and then supplied it to the EPCs. We have shipped close to around 300 megawatts in the last 3 years. 35 countries in Africa, Middle East, we have predominantly we have our footprints. Close to around 4 global offices now, more than 6 years in the industry. Best price guaranteed by and large, because this type of working system or a model is being is not very very well used in this region, at least. In Europe, yes, for sure there are many distributors who are almost on the similar lines the way we operate, and our prices are also guaranteed from the point of our approach, which is very lean and mean in nature, because we are exactly on our track what we need to deliver. Largest PV supplier in this region, I think at any point of time on inverters, maybe 10, 12, 15 megawatt in the stocks at Jebel Ali. PV modules 3 or 4 megawatts in the stocks in Jebel Ali. So basic model is like after doing the projections and then having annual contracts or half yearly contracts, we buy, we deploy inventory on in transits, keep them in the stocks in Jebel Ali, and then meet the requirements. Solar Simplified, I will not take much time now after a excellent session on the technology. We are talking it about now on the operations. So what is Solar Simplified actually? Solar Simplified, if we get into the details, is basically the entire process of procuring the components for any given solar project in a very simplified way. Means we are just trying to make an attempt of simplifying the entire process so that the quotations are handled by the project managers or project engineers in 15-20 minutes or half an hour's time. The procurement is done in such a way that it reduces a lot of the product availability at a site gets reduced by 20, 25, 30%. The overall cost gets reduced by 3 or 4%. So it is basically a process or a methodology, and we are in the process now of automating it fully so that the benefit reaches to the maximum number of people. Why this has come into the existence, and why we felt the need of something like this to be made available to the EPC companies or to the installers, because 70% of your time, energy, and money is actually spent in making the materials available to the site. And if there are any attempts are made on this 70%, then definitely you will be able to squeeze in all the 3 dimensions, time and quality, especially in these 2 dimensions, you'll be able to squeeze some benefit for the users. So this is how the operational efficiency which we are talking, and which is trying to bring in the benefit to the installers so that the overall solarization speed increases at a much lower cost. Why I said, as I explained to you, why there was a need of this, something like this, which was felt, and where mostly this can be deployed anything up to the 3 to 5 megawatt of a projects on a rooftop. For all EPCs installers, the benefit what they will get it at the end of the day, that the project which is supposed to be completed in a 6 months time, can that be complete in a 5 months time or a 4.5 months time? So instead of 180 days, can it be in 150 days or 125 days? How this will be done, how this will be achieved is basically a better understanding of a supply chain, or supply chain and logistics, or a better which is right from your order planning and delivery lead times, transit times, inventory deployments at the various locations. When I say the locations, not at the various warehouses, but inventory deployment during even at the transit. So when the material is in the transit, it is actually how correctly in a transit you can deploy the inventory, which can help you in increasing the availability. As I said, the benefit looked out is on the two fronts. One is reducing the overall cost of the procurement by around 2%, 3%, 5%, depending upon the size, depending upon location, or on a project to project basis. But 3 to 5% is a very common and an average which is being felt by most of the EPCs. And second is the availability, which reduces your project turnaround time. So which gives you a direct impact again on your bottom line, because if by using the same resources, if you are able to complete more number of projects, then it is always advantageous situation as compared to the first one. How I have also explained that this is now in 2 fronts we are going to do it. One is, as of now, we have a master planner which is being done by us on a manual basis. We are automating it now on our website, where it will be a separate username and password. So the users can enter with their username and passwords, and they will have a availability for the next 3 months from the for the product or the component what they are looking at, and the pricing as well. So availability for the next 3 months, and the prices if it is made available, and along with that, there's a choice of the products which will also be there. So you can choose the brands, you can choose the the different sizes in it, and then thereby you can see that whether this is available in September delivery. You can change it if it is not September, this particular product, if it is not available in September, whether can I pick another product in the same brand or in a different brand which can be made available in September. So those type of permutation combinations are also possible. And it's a little longer and little Herculean task, which it is now almost completed. Maybe in the next couple of week we will be able to roll it out. Apart from these things, it is also going to bring in a lot of alignment in a demand chain, especially when I say the alignment, because especially on the PV module, someone is quoting 390, someone is quoting 395, someone is quoting 400 watt peak module, someone is quoting 405 watt peak module. So if the information is made available in time and in right place, then some sort of alignment can happen there, and then you will see that someone who is trying to bring in a 395 can actually quote 400. So some sort of a standardization, which will again help not only for the people like us, but more the benefit goes to the end user and to the EPC company which is going to do it. Bringing visibility, it's of course the information is available, right information in time is available in a right platform. It will resolve a lot of procurement or a lot of supply chain issues of dates of deliveries, BL copies, blah blah, and so many other things which is coming. Of course, it increases the availability of the product, the planning. Integrated project supplies reduces the prices, and ensuring agility is again another very important aspect, because there are fluctuations. So some sort of fluctuations, if there is no capacity in the system or in a supply chain where you are working to absorb those fluctuations, then it becomes very difficult, and most often we land up only in paying it more for it. So that type of agility, because the reach is little wider, the reach is little more, this also provides this type of agility in the system. Last but not the least is the way we operate is very, I think I'll emphasize on cooperate, collaborate, and consolidate. That's a basic model on which we principally we are being more inclined on this basis, and that's what gives us the strength in the marketplace as well. A totality approach, holistic approach, not looking at only in one component or trying to optimize one specific product or for the component. It's a holistic approach to the complete solution, and then working it out or finding it out what is the best which is possible for it. So with this, I think I will close my quick introduction of Power and Sun and the Solar Simplified session. We can go to the question answer session, but I think before that, along with the SMA, we are ensuring together as their authorized distributors in this region, ensuring the quick availability of the product. Required technical support, which is there is in Abu Dhabi there is a service center available, but still pre-sales or post-sales, whatever the technical support issues coming up, do write it to us. We will have a one-tier, two-tier approach where it can be handled initially at the local level. If it is not, it can be escalated to the higher level. Excellent pricing, and last but not the least is the experienced partner. The very few companies carries the experience, rather maybe the first company only who carries the experience of almost 38 years, maybe more than that, in the solar industry. So they know all the nitty-gritties, and sometimes maybe pricing comes as a challenge, but then working with the experienced partners always comes to your benefit in a long run. I'm through with this now, and we will now switch over to the question answer sessions. I would like to also introduce two more panelists. One is Mr. Jens, who is from Germany, business head of Sunbelt. He carries more than 12 to 13 years of experience in a various field, right from his Boston consulting to SMA. In SMA, he has handled the strategic positions. He is there with us on board as a panelist, and he is free to contribute his views and the answers which we will be asking in the questions. The second panelist, we have Mr. Osama, a very familiar and known name in this region. He has worked SMA for almost 30 years, sir. Correct me if I'm wrong.
More than 30 years. Yeah.
The SMA for more than 30 years. So this is the wealth of experience. We have it in the form of a panelist. I will pick up some questions now from the questions which has been given by the attendees. We will also pick a few live questions. If someone wants to ask the question, he can raise his hand there. It will be known to us. We will give the rights for the mic so that we can connect it directly. So there is Mr. Salim Al-Rubaki. Hi, is there any option while designing solar on grid to implement different tariff rates time in the day for sales power and purchase power for ROI calculations? So I don't know who would like to, Mr. Sebastian, you would like to answer this, or?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, there is a possibility. So in this section where you can also do your own load profile, you can also set different tariffs throughout the day for the utility prices. So this is possible with Sunny Design.
Excellent, excellent. Mr. Osama, this is
maybe if I may add in addition to that, and I already enjoying it every day in my own PV plant. You can also, for example, using the SMA Sunny Home Manager or the Data Manager, set specific tariffs which are adopted in a PV plant. For example, if you have a backup storage in place, so it automatically optimizes from an economical standpoint according to the question: shall I use the power directly to feed my loads? Shall I store it in the battery, or shall I feed it into the grid, depending on which incentive scheme I have in place, either feed-in tariff, net metering scheme, or whatsoever. And it also comes with a weather forecast prediction, so to really optimize your economical benefit out of the PV plant over the entire day.
Thanks, Jens. So this is possible. I'll move to now the next question, which is a shade fix feature available for the already installed systems in STP 30? And then there was the similar question was there for STP 60 also.
Yes, so actually, as also mentioned throughout my presentation, we just gave it a new name basically. Yeah, so we already had this kind of feature in our, let's say, older products integrated. So it will be, or is also integrated in the tier 30 or STP 60 inverters.
Okay, so basically it was the feature was available in the older system also, but we have started highlighting it now to the market that this, this is how this is.
Yeah, the reason is basically because there was no real awareness in the market that we do have this feature, as we can also see from let's say this question. So that is the reason for the campaign.
So this is one comment from my side. I know the Shade Fix another name, since the beginning of the inverter technology of SMA. And why now is that, let's say, more underlined to show the function of this? Is that because a lot of optimizer coming on in the market and saying that optimizer is the best one and so on? Of course is that, but it is more cost. And for this reason, I think with the Shade Fix now, underlining, and especially of the interest of a lot of companies, of people also to know about what happens if there is shading. And therefore, I see also there is a very big opportunity for a lot of people who would like to install and have some shading to use this function. And this is really very effective.
To be on a light, little lighter side, I can reply to the people who were asking the questions that why SMA, inverter is producing the more yield than the other inverter. So probably this was the reason which was not highlighted, openly, and now you are trying to highlight this.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
There is a question from Mr. Mark when he's speaking about a little bit on Sunny Design with the Apple Mac PC in the old version that he faced some issues. I hope he says that those issues has been resolved now in the new system.
Actually, I've not tried the iOS version, but I haven't heard any complaints so far from my customers. So especially in Southeast Asia, most of my customers are using Macs, and they are using also the program, the software. So it should be fine, should be working now.
Excellent, excellent. Mr. Lawrence Romero, he's talking about STP60. Is the same shade fix, good solution? Was it available in their inverters, or is there something they need to do it further to have a feeling of it?
So it was available. There is a parameter setting that can be switched on and switched off, which is basically OptiTrack Global Peak, it's called, within the inverters. So this is like the feature behind where we do this shade fix also. So this can be switched on and switched off. By default, it's normally switched on.
Okay, good. There are many questions on this. Let me ask this question to Dr. Jens. There was a STP60, then STP, your SHP75. So what is the right alternative now for SHP75, which is now getting in a phased out, which is getting phased out now in a regular manner?
So, I mean, from a portfolio perspective, obviously the SHP75 was a very good product for plants which just need one MPPT. Yeah, so I mean, obviously we also need to go with the market and the market trends, and obviously PV projects get bigger and bigger, also with reach to large commercial installations, but also for utility scale. So as a supplement in the portfolio, obviously have the SHP 100 and 150 with one MPPT, and the new STP 110 obviously closes the gap for more, let's say, rooftop commercial applications, or let's say rather PV projects with different angles, different shading conditions due to the 12 MPPT, as Mr. Sebastian was also highlighting during the presentation.
Thanks, Jens. I think this gives a clear answer that after 75 we have 100 in a single MPPT, then we have 110 in a multiple MPPTs. And I'm sure all our attendees are listening this and then try to change wherever it is possible from 75 to 100 and 110. One more question, sir, to you directly. Would you like to share some experience with your background on energy storage and a PV diesel hybrid system, which is a very, as Mr. Sebastian has also said, that in South Africa and as well as in Saudi Arabia, basically in Saudi Arabia there are many units which are outside. They run still on generators.
Yeah.
Solution SMA has and where it fits well to the industry in terms of the economy as well as in terms of a solution.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, we started this industrial PV diesel hybrid initiative back in 2012-13, where we had, let's say, very high oil prices on a global market with over $100 per barrel. At that point, the economies was already there with, let's say, payback times in the range of 5 years. However, obviously, we know the diesel or the oil price itself went down dramatically, but luckily speaking, also the PV cost went down even more significantly. So even if you are not, let's say, come from the ecological background in terms to have a green footprint for your industry, it makes economically definitely sense to implement solar PV into your power portfolio just for diesel savings. And when it comes to storage integration, there are basically two aspects which provide a benefit. The first one is obviously that you may be able to have like peak load shaving in terms of just optimizing the operation of your generator set. And the other one is about, let's say, other grid support services like power smoothing. And we indeed have lots of references in the world where we can prove by real data that the power quality increases once the basically energy comes out of the battery storage system compared to a diesel generator, where you always have, let's say, like mechanical momentum, which has obviously a lower or slower reaction time to load steps, either peaks or dips. Whereas, for example, from a battery storage system, you can adjust it within milliseconds. Yeah. So and obviously, if you run machinery with which have high, let's say, sensitivity on power quality, you obviously gain significant benefit of second order just due to the fact that the machinery just holds much longer in lifetime because the power quality is better.
Excellent. Thanks, sir. Before I come to Mr. Osama, I think one question quickly, which is now on a zero export. Mr. Jasim has raised up a point. He says one of the competitors have the option for zero export, where the inverter can use the support of a genset as a grid on the zero export option, controls the productions. This question is on a zero export along with the generator as a grid. So it's a similar solution we have it with SMA. Sebastian, question is with you.
Basically, yes, but we do have a different approach to that, because there are basically two things. Whenever you have zero export, as you all know, like every measurement device in the world, there's always like a little time lapse at least. Yeah. So meaning, okay, we need to measure something before we can take control of the PV output in order to really establish 0% export at the end. So yeah. So this time lapse might be a little bit, let's say, difficult when it comes not to a public utility grid, but to a diesel genset. Simply saying, okay, avoiding a reverse power flow to the inverter, to the diesel generator, sorry. So this is like one of the big difficulties when it comes to, let's say, zero export on diesel generators. Therefore, we do have a specific, it's called hybrid controller, that is specialized on let's say, fast controlling of the PV. So to really reduce this time lapse between measurement and taking action. And the other thing is that most of the generator suppliers, they are saying to us, okay, look, integrating of PV to a diesel genset system is possible, but they always say, okay, if you want to have like a good running system, not just with PV, but also on the diesel generator side, you should try not to have, let's say, a really small load on diesel gensets. So they are normally saying, okay, the generators should be used 20 to 30% of its output power to run in a smooth way. Yeah. So we, in this case, are not just listening to, let's say, the first thing that I've mentioned, so reverse power flow protection, but also to the generator manufacturers, so that we are not trying to achieve 0% on a diesel genset system, even though we could do it with our system. So it's programmable, it's parameterable, so you can set the parameters.
Excellent, good. So last question to Mr. Osama. We would like to have some benefit of your vast experience, a lot of experience in the Middle East region also. So can we have your some wise words on on the solar industry and the SMA inverters in this region and in this market, and some of your experience, which was as old as 10 years or 12 years old of installing the solar systems in this in this harsh environment in the Middle East.
I think like like in Germany also the PV started also slowly. Yeah, it was not accepted from everybody. Now, since 2003 approximately, I am active in the Middle East, and the first exhibition I have done at that time in Dubai, it was with also PV system and PV inverter, and everybody came and said, what it is? Yeah, they don't know what it is. So it means that we have to have time also to explain to the people. Really started the interest of the PV with Mazda. When 2009 started, let's say, the first discussion about Mazda, and it took, of course, a little bit time to introduce also the technology, and we have done a lot of active training and so on and information. So you have to be patient there. And I think now what you have seen, first of all, when we were very happy to sell 1 kilowatt, now there is a lot of big project in megawatts. So training, informing the people, yeah, it is very important. And I think this market is very big for PV.
Thanks, Mr. Osama. I think very correct point you have touched. It's a training, and we were there, Dr. Zenz and me, we both were there a couple of days back in one of the webinar, which was on a general subjects, not specific to any one principal company. And the training, the need of a training was very well spelled there, that this region needs more qualified solar engineers, along with the hands-on training and with the practical sessions. Probably I could also keep all the attendees informed. Maybe in the near future you may hear from us some sort of a training module or some sort of a training system getting designed, since we have felt the need, and it is at a very optimal cost, or maybe at a no cost, because we believe strongly and firmly that knowledge sharing should be at a least possible cost. This should not be the reason, or this should not be the source of earning or making profits for the companies. So with that reason only, this type of webinars has been hosted and conducted. Thanks, sir. I would like to, I think we should conclude the session with the last few words from Dr. Zenz, and as a word of thanks, and then we can, I think, wind up this program.
Yeah, I think, well, there's not much to add to this. I mean, we covered a lot of topics around, let's say, technologically advantages, about operations, how to bring down in project development, in installation, in procurement, and so on. And I think that is, at the end of the day, which really makes the difference and provides competitive advantage to all players along the value chain, but especially to the EPCs and installers, who just need to rely on strong partners up from the value chain. So in that regard, and I think no one could have summarized better than Usama on what is needed in the Middle East region. Yeah, I think we are pretty much prepared to further support the growth in the region, and definitely we are really happy to do so. Yeah, thanks for your attendance and also the very qualified and important questions in the chat.
Thanks a lot. Thanks to the attendees. Thanks to the panelists. Thanks for your time. We really appreciate this, and looking forward to meet you maybe 1 week or 2 weeks from now again. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.